I refuse to lie about any product that I review just to appease a company or a person. If I lie to you about how good that product is, that completely eliminates the whole purpose of my channel, which is to give you unbiased information and allow you to draw your own conclusions. Sure. With that said, we're going to be testing the Gearhead B30 today, or rather reviewing, however you want to look at it. When I review a bow, I break it down into 4 parts. The first part is the overview, which is going to talk about the stats that are publicly posted online. I'll give you close-ups of the bow, maybe some clips of me shooting it. The next part is going to be the features, and that's when I talk about what the bow can offer you outside of its stats, whether it be grip options or anything of that nature. After that, we're going to test the stats. So I want proof positive that what the bow says it can do, it is actually doing. So I'll test the overall weight of the bow with no accessories and see how it compares to online. I'm going to test the IBO speed of the bow, so I'll set it out to IBO settings, which my understanding for the longest time was 30 inches at 70 pounds. Now I'm understanding it's max draw length and draw weight. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to max everything out, and we're going to test how fast the bow is with a 350 grain arrow. Then I'm going to test what I consider to be more realistic hunting speeds. So I'm going to drop it down to 28 inches, which is what my draw length is, and I think is a relatively average draw length. I'm going to put the bow at 70 pounds flat, even though this maxes at more than 70 pounds. And then I'm going to shoot the IBO arrow. I'm going to shoot a 425 grain arrow and a 550 grain arrow, which I feel like are around the average for most hunting arrows. And then I'm going to shoot a 950 grain arrow, which really is just because I have one laying around and I want to see what the bow will do. Some people do hunt that heavy, most people don't. It's for fun. And it's just a little bit extra information for you in case you ever want to go chase a hippo or something like that. Then after that, we're going to talk about the overall shootability of the bow. The shootability has a couple parts that are a little bit opinion based. So understand that I try to stay as unbiased as possible, but I will put some of my opinion in here and I will point it out when it is my opinion. So I'm going to talk about the grip. I'm going to talk about the draw cycle and draw you charts for the draw cycle of the bow that are easy to understand and interpret. And I'll explain those the best I can when I draw you out those charts. And then the pointability of the bow, which sounds weird when you're talking archery, but there is something to be said about a bow that just settles on the target well. And we'll talk about that in depth and kind of explain that a little more when it comes to that section. The Gearhead B30 has an IBO speed of 335 feet per second, a 30.625 inch axle to axle. It's 4.5 pound mass weight, and of course that's with no accessories on it. It can generate up to 87.2 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. It's got draw weights available in 45 to 55, 55 to 65, and 65 to 75 pounds. We'll be using a 65 to 75 for this video. Your draw length ranges 25.5 inches to 31.5 inches, and your brace height ranges from 5.25 all the way up to 7 inches. It comes standard with the 1911 slider grip. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the different quiver mounting options, or rather all the different locations you can mount your quiver. Now you can mount it on top of your sight with the sight mounted in the standard sight holes like you would on any other bow, or you can mount it up top here, or you can mount it below the sight, or you can mount it all the way down here if you were to choose to do so. That's on both sides of the riser. You have that ability, so you can really pick and choose what's going to balance your bow the best if you like to shoot with your quiver on. The Gearhead B30 has the ST1 stabilizer mounting system, and basically it's the stabilizer mount you see up front with 5 different hole options. It really allows you to fine-tune the balance of your bow. There is a lot of adjustability in this cam. You've got an A post, a B post, and a C post, so you can adjust the feel of the draw cycle. Then you've got all kinds of draw length adjustability. Then up top here you've got limb stop adjustability, and this allows you to adjust your let off, so you can have a lower let off or a higher let off by moving this, and as you can see there are a lot of positions available. Gearhead bows are ambidextrous. There's 3 bolts on this side and 3 bolts on the other side. Take those off and flip the grip around, and it is a left-handed bow. It's very handy if you want to hand the bow down to somebody you love and they're a lefty. Maybe you injure your right shoulder and you need to shoot lefty, or maybe your buddy's bow tech blew up another set of limbs and he's a lefty. Now he can shoot a bow that's not going to skyrocket the limbs. That's a joke, bow tech guys. Don't burn me at the stake. The B30 offers a wide variety of grip options So when you order the bow, you can really pick a grip that you think is going to fit you the best. What you see here is the 1911 style grip. It does accept standard 1911 side plates, so you can do a lot of customability there. They also have their standard grip, their carbon grip, and their flat back grip. This is Gearhead's slider grip feature. It's a very cool feature that really allows you to dial in the bow to exactly what you want it to be. By taking out those two bolts, you're able to move this grip forward, backwards, or side to side. If you move it forward, it's going to give you more brace height, which is going to make for a more forgiving bow overall. If you move it backwards, it's going to give you less brace height, which is going to make for a faster bow. It also allows you to increase your draw length, which is going to give you even more performance out of this bow. The right to left feature is very good if you're somebody that naturally torques your bow in one direction or the other all the time, or maybe you're somebody that has an injury that causes you to torque the bow all the time. Being able to move that grip right to left will help you fight that natural or injury-caused torque. So I'm using my draw weight scale to test the mass weight of the bow. I've used this against other draw weight scales and it's been very accurate, so I figure it's good enough. 4.98.
Yeah, see if I can't get this so you guys can see it, kind of.
I did all the speed testing on a Hooter shooter, that way it can be consistent. And then I did IBO testing, and I did hunting speed testing. The IBO testing is max draw length, max draw weight, and a 350 grain arrow. I did that on comfort and performance. And then the hunting speed is 28 inches at 70. I did that on comfort, standard, and performance, and with 4 different arrow weights. I did put in some shooting here, but I'm not going to make you watch all of it because that would be awful and boring. So I've drawn some illustrations here to help you best understand what it feels like to draw these bows in each draw cycle setting. We'll start with performance and we'll go to comfort. So this is when you're at rest, and when you're in performance mode and you start drawing, it's almost immediately stiff. And it climbs, I mean, it is very stiff, and it gets harder. It gets harder as you draw. Then you hit peak, and there's just a little bit more of an oomph right at the top here until you crest the cam, then you roll over into your valley, and you're at full draw. In standard mode, you're at rest. There's a gradual climb until you hit your peak. Once you're at peak, you're pulling that weight until you hit your valley, and then you roll off into your valley, and you're at full draw. In comfort mode, you've got a little bit of sponge right at the beginning, so you've got just about that much room before you really start to pick up anything from the cam. When you do, it's very, very gradual. By the time you hit your peak, it rolls right over into the valley, and you're at full draw. I hope this helps you understand kind of how it feels to draw those bows. And if you can't go shoot one yourself, you know, it's kind of hard to illustrate and explain, but I really hope this is a tool that helps. Now, this is called mapping the draw curve, I believe. And if it is, there's a way more technical way to do it than what I'm doing. This is just helping you to understand how it feels. The technical way, I'm honestly not super familiar with, and I think it's getting too deep in the weeds for most of us average guys. We just want to know how the bow feels, and I think this does it the best that I can do it for you. So if you have any questions about anything else with the draw cycle or anything like that, by all means drop it in the comments below. I would be happy to answer those questions. So this is the point in the video where I really can't give you empirical data and give you numbers to draw the conclusions and make decisions. I need to walk you through what I'm feeling. And because of that, there's going to be some level of opinion here that I can't get rid of. I wish I could, I just can't. And the reason why is the way I shoot and what I like and how I feel when I draw a bow, when I anchor, is going to be different than the way you shoot, what you like, and how you feel when you shoot a bow. So what I'm going to do is just walk you through step by step as I take a couple shots here so you can understand how shootable this bow is and how pointable it is. On the note of pointability, pointability basically means how well does the bow settle in and get on target. So think of a shotgun. How good does that shotgun point? When it comes up to your shoulder, is it right there? Is it everywhere it needs to be? Is it doing what it should do? Is it easy to acquire targets? A bow is the same thing. When I draw an anchor, is it right there? Is it on target? Do I have to wait for it to settle? Do I have to adjust my grip or move my hands at all I need to get things to work? So I'll grab a couple shots here, and again, I'll just walk you through step by step of the whole shot process and how I feel every step of the way. Hopefully you can utilize this to kind of compare and contrast with your own shooting.
That's actually great. You can.
Now we're shooting this basically as I would hunt with it. It's 70 pounds, it's 28 inches, and it's on the comfort setting. So we'll go ahead and draw. Now for me, when I draw, like right here at this point before I fully anchor, it's rock solid. Like there's very little tilting up top. It doesn't feel top heavy in one direction or the other. And as I anchor in, nothing changes. It just feels like it's where it should be. This bow also has a super solid back wall. The combination of limb stops and cable stops makes it a very solid back wall. And if you're a person that prefers a little spongier back wall, you can always move those limb stops around or take them off completely and just run cable stops and have that spongier back wall. I like a solid back wall personally. I want something that I can pull against and not have any problems.
Great.
You know, the draw cycle is as I described when we talked about the draw cycles earlier. The smooth setting is just a little bit of movement up front and then just smooth until it rolls over into that valley. And again, it just settles so well for me. It points, it is right on exactly where I'm looking. It just, to me, this bow feels good. You know, even on comfort setting, I will admit the draw cycle is a little rough. And it's not, I guess I shouldn't say rough. The draw cycle is not rough so much as it is probably a little heavier poundage than I should be shooting. I can get it back, and once it's back, it's very comfortable. But getting it back is a little bit of an oomph. I should be shooting more to kind of counteract that. Yeah, it just settles in. No movement. I feel like I could hold this all day long. I really hope this makes sense. I wish I could put it more empirical data, but as of now, this is the best I can do. As I do more bow reviews, I'll try to discover new ways to put this in data. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this Gearhead B30. I liked it quite a bit. I really like all the adjustability and fine-tuning that you can do to it. And as always, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and all that good stuff. And if you want to watch more of my content, there's will be a video popping up now that is more of my content that you can watch. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.